Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD, Get You Done Venture Studios, premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion. Also, Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GST that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. With that, I have an incredible guest today, Raj Singhal, the co-founder and CEO of Footprints Childcare. And he's going to talk about how he's revolutionizing childcare in India and impacting the world. So with that, I'd like to bring Raj. Hey, Raj, how are you doing today?
Hey, thanks, Gary. I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on the show.
Now, how do you go from IIT to doing childcare?
Yeah, it's a funny story, honestly. I mean, so after IIT, worked with a couple of startups, and then I started my own, IT services startup. Ran that for 10 years, and then sold that in 2013. So after 2013, I was looking to do something which is more grounded in nature. Something in a way I wanted to contribute back to the country where I was born. So wanted to do something related to education where I can have much more fulfillment and satisfaction, and wanted to create some real value versus just writing piece of code. So thought of entering into education in India. The only the preschool are unregulated in the sense that you could do it for profit. So I thought let's venture into this and try making some impact there if I can.
So, what was the journey like? Can you talk about your journey in terms of building it? You started, and how big is it today?
Yeah, so I started in September 2013 with two of my batchmates from IIT, Purvesh and Ashish. Purvesh has been a serial entrepreneur himself, very close friend of my closest friend and my roommate at IIT. Ashish was again one of our friends at IIT. So we started in 2013 with setting up company operated centers in Delhi neighborhood. I mean the Gurugram, if you've heard about, and Noida. We started in those two places just to learn the tricks of the trade. How does it work? And it was very different experience than running a software company in India, where I was largely dealing with customers from Europe and US. So running a ground business in India is far more challenging than I anticipated. And nevertheless, I ran those centers for about 2.5 years, and introduced a lot of technology. So, I mean, the first problem that we encountered is that given a new brand, how do I trust you? I mean, you're saying great things, but how do I know that what you're saying you'll actually do that? So we said, okay, let's just simply start broadcasting everything to you. So we started providing live CCTV feed to our parents, so they can now see whatever we are saying, whether we are implementing that or not, and that brought a lot of pressure. I mean, now we actually had to do what we are saying. So a lot of parent complaints, parent support inquiries that we started getting in, and that allowed us to actually improve quite a bit. Uh, and then parents started saying, we now trust you, but we still are interested in some sort of key updates. We started giving them live updates of how much your child has eaten, slept, and activities did. Nevertheless, we ran that for about 2 years, and then we started looking at how do we scale. We looked at franchise model in India, but that was largely broken. So we created a hybrid model combining the company owned and franchise model, best of both worlds. And I can get into more details of that model if you're interested. And then scaled from 5 centers to 95 centers by March 2020. And then COVID hit us. So we were back to zero. For 2 years in India, the lockdown was there, and all our 95 preschools daycare were closed. So practically, we restarted this company in 2022 March. So whatever you see today is actually a work of last 3.5 years, learning of last 12 years. That's how I like to put it. Currently, we are at 187 centers spread across 25 cities in India. and growing. We're adding about 15, 16 centers every quarter now.
Well, that's fantastic. What was the gap or problem you identified in India's preschool market that led you to found the company? What was it that you saw that you said, "Hey, listen, there's something that needs to be addressed here, and this is what we can do to fix it"?
Yeah, so I mean, when we started out, the vision was to actually create a preschool and daycare which is uh, parallel to what exists in Western countries. I had decent exposure of the kind of childcare that exists in United States and Europe. In fact, personally visited more than 50 of those centers. So, idea is to actually bring those standards to India because there were no standards in India. I mean, you could have 20 children in a room with one teacher. So the idea was to actually bring that. But what happened during the journey is that we realized that more than bringing the high quality childcare, right now the concerns are more related to safety and security. So we actually worked on the safety and security of child by having our centers child proof. So all the edges are covered, the doors are designed in a way that fingers can't get in, all the corners are covered, uh, all the staff is female, so there the chances of harassments are very low. Similarly, we use a lot of tech, so everybody has a biometric access, so only authorized visitors can get in. So essentially, we solve for safety and security versus providing the best childcare, and that has been our success mantra, if I can call it.
Your footprints is described as disrupting preschool with technology. What are you doing that's different besides the biometric fingerprints and that kind of thing? What's different, and how does that enrich a child's life?
Yeah, so I mean, so there are different stakeholders. So if you look at parent, we're providing transparency to parent and providing everything at a click of a button. So you can watch CCTV live feed as a parent. You can see what your child did today, and you can then there are a lot of interaction you might want to do. So, for example, you might want to tell the child care center that what my child needs to be given this medicine that I've put in the bag at 10 a.m. So all those communication can be done through the app. Similarly, you may want to shift your center from one location to another location for a period of time. You could just click a button, do that. You want to pay the fee, click a button on the app again. So it's a complete self-service portal for parents where almost anything that they can think of, they can actually do it on a click of a button. That's parent facing, and of course they get all the data about child, how much child, I mean the monthly report of height, weight, and different observation as per our curriculum. They get those. On the center operation side, there is a complete ERP that exists, so they can actually see how many visits happened, what happened to those visits, what did the parents say after visit, or how many children are present today, what is the menu in the food that they have to prepare today. So all those are there in the system. At, at the monitoring side where we're sitting, we're using a lot of AI. So since we have all the CCTV feed, we're analyzing that feed and able to detect how many times cleaning happened in the room and
Wow.
how deep was that cleaning. So instead of somebody looking at it manually, which is never possible, we're actually able to see our SOP says that there has to be one cleaning before the center opens, there has to be one cleaning right after lunch, and then there's another cleaning, and the cleaning has to be for 15 minutes. We're now able to actually see those metrics automatically using AI. We're also able to detect instances where child is unmonitored through that CCTV feed because most of the injury happens when there is no adult supervision. So we're able to do that using AI. The next goal is to actually also analyze the voice at the center and see how much of the lesson plan has been delivered today. But we're still some distance away from that. So
You could use all this technology in every classroom, everywhere,
we're using it at all our centers. Yes.
not just centers. I mean, classrooms doesn't matter the grade, right? The same issues. You got to figure out what's happening and how to be able to teach that person better. So, I mean, that sounds like you've got a wide ranging opportunity there.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, we just started with this, so I mean, there might be an opportunity to actually
Yeah,
have this
because every
tech.
classroom
You,
that's out there, you're trying to monitor, what the children are doing, and how can you go down through and enrich it and make it better. And if you understood their behavior patterns, you could start to figure out what lessons are sticking the most and who you should be teaching differently. It would be
yeah,
interesting because
yeah,
nobody's ever done that. Classes like classroom monitoring on steroids, right? It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
you just raised 7.5 million Series A funding from Tanglin.
yes.
Congratulations. What are you going to be
Thank
using
you
the
so much.
funding for?
So, I mean, we're going to invest further in technology. We're going to expand more in India. The goal is to get to 600, 500, 600 centers in next 5 years. So that's where we're going to use it. We largely technology, marketing, and expanding the existing center of network of centers.
Uh, Raj, what leadership values have you prioritized in building footprints, and how do you influence your organizational culture? Right, because you're dealing with people, a lot of teachers, that kind of thing. Right? How did you transition? On one side, being an engineer is one thing, but being a leader in a child daycare is a whole different deal. Right? With these children, but how did you make that transition, and what values did you prioritize?
So, I mean, for us, I think there's three values that we prioritize most. One is the transparency. We are very transparent with our parent. I mean, CCTV is just an example, but if if anything happens at our center, I mean, even if there is the smallest of injury at the center, parents get the call first. That's the culture we've built. That if anything goes wrong, please let us know. We're not going to go after you. We'll actually see what we can do so that next time that incident does not happen. So there's a book called Black Box Thinking. We're influenced by, as a philosophy of the company, we're influenced by that book quite a bit. That don't hide mistakes, tell us those mistakes so that we can actually put process and system in the place so that it doesn't occur again. Second is integrity. Integrity is extremely important for us. And when I say integrity, a lot of people hear honesty. I'm not saying honesty. It's you do what you say, and if you're not able to do, you come to me before I come to you. That's integrity for us. So we hold that value quite close to us. And then there is accountability. That you got to be accountable for what you're doing, and it is all everything has to be based on what you're accountable for.
Interesting. So, well, with expansion in mind, what are the biggest challenges you anticipate going forward, and how do you prepare to address them?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest challenging in India is that even though we say India is one country, it consists of so many languages and cultures, and so every time we go to a new state, new city, we have to learn a lot, and that does become very challenging. Sitting in a boardroom, you tend to sort of underestimate those challenges. So I think the challenge really is to understand those cultures. So what I'm doing very uh, consciously now is actually traveling quite a bit. Almost every week I'm now traveling to these new regions that we're not present in, so that we can understand it firsthand versus understanding it through the team. Because once the top team understand the culture and challenges, I think we can better deal with it. And the culture is very different. I mean, maybe very difficult to explain. I mean, the even just the way you wear clothes, what clothes you wear, even the pronunciation of same English is very different down west, down south versus what we speak here in north. So those are really the challenges and the concern that parents have in different region changes quite a bit.
What's your approach to hiring and retaining talent in an industry as sensitive as childcare? How do you find the people?
So, I mean, India has a lot of young people. I mean, our demographically, we have, I think, the highest number of people, even as a percentage of population, between age 24 and above. So, finding people is not challenging. The real challenge is to train those people and then retain them because unfortunately, pay scales in daycare worldwide are not very high, so we have to work on retaining them. So I mean, we have a dedicated training program, a 2 week initial training program, and then a continuous training program through which we train our teachers and caregivers. And then there are incentives for teachers to sort of make sure that they stay with us for a longer. Have I been very successful in training? Not really. Am I doing better than industry? Probably yes, but still long way to go in terms of teacher retention. Really.
You've spoken about AI's role in childcare. Um, how do you see that evolving? How much more AI do you think you're going to deploy? And will you do things like individualized instruction? Because one of the things you could do, you catch your kids early, right? And understand how they learn. And you could create some highly specialized training programs for them, right? That's kind of like an added value sell to the childcare
Yeah.
and you enchant them. So have you thought about those kind of things?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're dealing with very, very young children. We deal with children between age 1 to 5. So, a lot of research says that screen time is not a good idea for that age. So, we don't use any technology which is child facing. So for us to analyze learning patterns purely based on CCTV feed doesn't seem realistic at this point of time. So we're not looking to actually do anything on the child learning side as of now. We're only looking to use the CCTV video and audio feed to find patterns. I mean, we could possibly find patterns of how engaging this particular class has been, or which child was more engaged today. We could probably do all of that. So we're looking to do that, but it's going to be slow and steady, I would say. We're not in a hurry. We think it's a journey eventually, and we think we are way ahead of most other daycare preschool across the world, I guess, in terms of what we are trying to do here.
Can you give some of the examples of some of the challenging moments you had in building footprints, where you're going to, because entrepreneurs are out there, they're always looking
Yeah.
for how do you overcome adversity, right? So what
Mm.
are some of the moments and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, there have been several. I mean, the right at the starting, given you know we were from IIT and had successful entrepreneurship experience. We thought raising money to scale this would be very easy. We just couldn't raise any money when we started out. So that was very challenging and demotivating. Doing business in India with so many regulatory hurdles, licenses, was very difficult. But I think the biggest of them was COVID by far, because you know we were right at the peak of our game, and then COVID hit us. Everything went down to zero, no revenue, nothing. So
How did
even the survival became a big.
situation, how did you address it, right? Because you had no money coming in, right? How do
Yeah,
you address it? What do you do, right? How do you pivot to keep things rolling?
yeah. So I mean, I should thank everybody who was working at Footprint. So what we did on March 20, we called in all hands, telling people that everything is going under lockdown and we have absolutely very limited money to be able to pay you guys. So we're asking you to volunteer. We actually ask people to volunteer who can live without money. So, and you could say that I would take a 20% cut, I could say 80% cut. So, a lot of people came forward and said, we will work without any salary for 3 months. In return, we gave them stock options. And our hope was that this lockdown will not continue beyond a couple of months. Eventually, it did. So we had to ultimately lay off most of our workforce, but people were very, very supportive to us in terms of giving up their money. And we're talking about people who were not like rich people who have a lot of saving. We're talking about people who sort of earn monthly, spend monthly, so they hardly had any saving. For those people to come and say that we're giving up their salary for a couple of months was very touching and something that I would always remember in my life. So I think people support, and then our we had a lot of angel investors, so they were ready to support us. They even though they knew that whatever money they are pumping in right now may go down to drain, given the situation of COVID, they still kept pumping in money whenever we needed. And there were a couple of guys who were ready to give us some debt, so we raised some debt as well. Again, fully knowing that this debt may not really be paid back ever. So I think just because of those people, we were able to sort of survive. We did pivot a little bit. I mean, we started offering online classes to children, but frankly speaking, those online classes for small children of 2 years, 3 years is not very effective. It was just a stopgap arrangement for us to just somehow pass those 2 years, which we eventually did. But that was the hardest period. I think there have been days during those COVID when I've cried and did not know what to do. I mean, and it's just not me. When my wife's business was not working well at that point of time, so it was extremely hard.
We're coming to the top of the show, Raj. So, what's next for Footprints Children? Where do you see the company in the next 3 to 5 years? What's going to happen? I know you said about 600. Are you going to go global? Are you going to stay in India? What do you want to do with it?
No, we want to stay in India. I think for next 4 or 5 years, don't see we going outside India, because India in itself is a vast country, and we can possibly have a few thousand centers eventually. The idea is to actually continue working on our core values, which is to actually provide high quality childcare, making it accessible to large part of population in India. And in the process, we'll expand, have 500, 600 centers. But the fundamental focus continues to be providing safe, secure environment where small children can learn. So we'll continue doing that. Of course, numbers will keep increasing in that process as long as we're doing a good job. The market is a pretty open market here, in that sense that there are not a lot of players that we're competing with. I mean, there are always local players, so I think that's how we're gonna play the game.
Interesting. Suraj, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Your story's fascinating, and helping kids and enriching their lives, and helping building a place where parents can take those kids so they continue to work is really important. Sometimes we forget, right? It's not so easy. I know I had with my two kids when they were young, it was really hard. We had to take them to daycare and things, and but that's life. And you're doing a great job, and congratulations on your success. Congratulations on raising money. And to all of you out there, thank you for joining one more time. GSD presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we will be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, Raj.
Thank you for having me, Gary.